All right, in this video, I'm going to show you how we built a clay table here that basically automatically finds local businesses, finds the email addresses, finds the business owner, and does a whole bunch of different steps to basically personalize the emails. Also is able to find the competitors and write compliments based on their reviews from Yelp. So I'm going to show you step by step, and also this has what I've seen with this just in this small test sample list of data that we've got here. We've been able to find, I think, about 70% of the emails basically. So I'll show you a different way that we're using, it's just slightly different of how I'm using finding emails. So let me show you step by step. So here, this is just restaurants. We've just done a small search for restaurants in London, for example. Here, again, this is just some sample data. I've shown you before how to do this, so feel free to check out one of my other videos on how you actually pull the data within Clay. But you can obviously use this for any other local businesses that you want, right? That are on Google Maps. So what we do is the first step is we want to find their email addresses, and we want to make sure that we can obviously email the person, right? If we don't have their email address, then there's no point in kind of continuing the rest of the steps. So first thing we do is we scrape their website with Zenrose. You can get their API, which allows you to scrape 250,000 URLs for I think $69. So you put the website in here, you'll be able to scrape a whole bunch of data. So if you click on here, you can see all the data that we get. You can obviously use a body text if you want, but we're looking for the emails, and we pull the email address from the website, right? So that's the first thing that we do. It pulls back only a couple, right? So out of the first 10, it pulled back only 2. The next thing that we do, if we can't find the email here, which we haven't been able to find 80% of the emails just yet, we've only found 20, we will use Clayagent, right? So the prompt that I use for this, because I know people are asking, is visit the website URL here and output any emails you find. Only output one email address maximum, do not output anything else. And that's on GPT-4o Mini. So we'll pull the website emails here. And you can see some obviously doesn't find them, some has email protected, no email address found. So I then write a little formula that will essentially only pull the ones that have an at symbol. So info at, or at bookings at, or info at, and so on and so forth, right? Because otherwise it gets messy and there'll be no email address found and all this kind of stuff. So then what I do after this is I pull together the emails from here and the emails from here. And for some reason, I'm not quite sure why it's supposed to be there. Well, no, that's actually there, sorry. And then this merges the 2 columns. And then what I do is I format the emails, right? So this is another step to basically just make sure that we're not pulling in, we're not wasting credits. Like if we're validating the email addresses, that we're not wasting anything on emails that are not actually emails, because it will still run and it'll still cost you. So yeah, just removing that bit. So the way we do it is put a very simple prompt in here, which is again GPT-4o Mini. A lot of the stuff that we're using here is GPT-4o Mini. So normalize the format and email address from the input. Only output if the email address is correctly formatted. If no email is found, then just put no email found, basically. So then it will output all the email addresses, and then we just use a very simple conditional formula that says run and validate the email address using Enrichly, and don't run it if it contains no email found, basically. So this is just a merge of the emails from the website and then emails from Clayagent, right? So there's a few from Clayagent and there's a few from the website. Then we validate the emails, but there's a fair few that are not validated. So what we do now is we move on to Prospeo. This is part of the waterfall. We move on to Prospeo, and basically we do this in 2 steps. The way that this is done, if you go on to, if you click on edit column here, where basically you have an option here to, it'll essentially find email addresses associated with the domain. So you give it the domain to the website, and then it'll be able to find email addresses associated with that. So the email type is basically if it's a generic or professional email. I've done it in 2 steps because I wanted to test out if there was actually a difference and if how many we were able to actually pull. So this first section here is professional emails. And if we click into here to actually see what the results look like, you can see that there's This one is it's under professional email, but it's not a person's name. We don't really want that. We want people's names, right? So that's kitchen at. It's not a person's name, but here we can see this is a person's name, and then we can see I think this one person's name, right? So what we did, we put all of these, and I've hidden the columns now, but we put all of them into just added them as columns, and then I created a prompt here that basically pulled and separated just the names, the emails that were associated with people's actual names, right? So it says only the addresses that contain a human's name, right? I'll put only the email, nothing else, and then that'll mean that we only have the like a person's email address, and you can see here that it's pulled like a person's email address. Then we validate that professional email. Some are obviously not going to be validated. We then merge the valid columns from here and from here. And then we have one more step, which is we use Prospero again, but now we've changed it to generic. So this is like the last step that we use. If anything, I mean, you could, by all means, like switch this so this goes first if you wanted to. It's just this is the way that I've sort of structured it here. And then they'll be exactly the same thing. But the only thing is we'll be pulling the generic, and you can see like here it's, bookings and so on, and then we'll validate that. And then the final thing is that we put them into a one merge column for all the valid emails. So we're able to, you can see here, we're able to get basically 8 out of 10 emails, whereas before when doing like lots of local business lead gen side of things and trying to actually pull emails, we're able to only maybe get like 30 to 50%. So this is a little bit better. So I'm curious to see what it actually looks like when sending. The next thing we do is we normalize the restaurant name, because a lot of times, like when we're reaching out, we use the restaurant like company name. But obviously it might be weird if it like we reached out and it said the Blues Kitchen Shoreditch or something, right? So we want to like normalize it a little bit. So we put together a small prompt. And you can see here, normalize restaurant names. We actually use AI to write the prompts. But yeah, and we give it some examples and so on. And we also, I think we give it some examples down here as well on what that would look like. And then you can see here, it's like a very normalized way of saying the restaurant's name. So then when we reach out, we can actually like use that, right? And that can also be across any other industry that you want for local businesses. The next thing that we do is normalize the location. So all of these are the same just because we've pulled the data from one particular like location area. So all of it would be the same, but just imagine it if he's doing this in like any specific like suburb or region or area within a city, for example. But basically this is the prompt: convert the address into its most relevant neighborhood or district name, optimize for local recognition, email personalization. Again, we're using AI to write this, but it does a really good job. It gives it rules here. And then it gives it like formats, and then it gives it examples, and then it basically gives it the list of addresses. So you can see here the list of addresses like, Boundary Street and so on and so forth. And basically just ask, based on this data that we currently do have, how do we make it look so it's normal? So when we reach out, we say like, hey, I saw your restaurant's located in Shoreditch or something, right? As opposed to, your restaurant's located in, the street, like this street, Phipps Street or whatever, or in like London, which is just too generic. So that's how we get like a nice middle ground, basically. Again, helps with like the personalization side of things. So this next one was quite interesting, which is pulling the competitor. So we have a prompt here again that we wrote, and we're using Clagent. So we give it all the business information that we have, which is essentially like the business name, the type of restaurant. So we've actually, this is automatically pulled from Google Maps, so we don't do anything to get this info. This data, we have the location, we have the star rating, we have Google Maps URL, we have the description, but we set it off as like, it doesn't matter if it's there or not. We have the website and we have the address. And basically say, find 2 competitors in that same neighborhood, only return 2 competitors, and then example input, right? And I just put 2 just because, just in case like it gives 1 and it's not very good or something. I give it an example output, and then don't output the brackets and don't output the original business name from business name, right? So that's how we structure it. And then we just do a manual check, basically. But yeah, after checking all of these manually, they're pretty good. We've got 2. And then obviously in the outreach, we actually only use 1 because we're saying like, hey, have you seen on your street? Or like, I know that competitor nearby is also doing this, or something along those lines, right? We're able to pull their competitor. and then use that as part of the outreach. And then, you can see that we've just normalized it a little bit as well. So it's not saying the fat bear in this case, or whatever it is. It's saying like it's normalizing the name a little bit as well, which works. We also then normalize the business type. So this was really, really simple prompt, but it's just basically normalizing and putting it in lowercase essentially for the first one, which is like primary type. So we're just saying like, I know a lot of other Thai restaurants in your area are also doing this, right? For example. So there's that. And then what's next after that bit? Pulling the owner's name. This one we're still configuring, so I'm just going to leave this bit out. But this one's quite cool here, which is, so we're finding the business info from Yelp. So it does cost Clay credits. But essentially, you're able to pull the information from the business on Yelp as well. And then we use that and feed that into here to find the reviews, essentially. So the reason why we do 2 steps is because you need the place ID in order to run the search on find reviews. And I'm sure there's a way of retrieving that from the URL. I just haven't really looked into it just yet. So for the time being, we've just placed that in there. And then we've created a prompt here to just put a PS line, which basically complements them. And I think it's much better to put it in the PS as opposed to like the first line. Complements them essentially on, what they, like just some of the reviews. And we basically pull the reviews. So if we scroll down here, you can click on any of the reviews, comment, and then, so you can see like, obviously someone took a whole bunch of time to write this, and then we can pull that from like all of these different reviews here. And then we can ask AI to essentially like summarize it and build a really small personalized line on that. And this is what it looks like. Soaring up, it was soft serve. It's legendary, got to try it. Like, and there are a lot more. Soaring up, the octopus is to die for. Soaring up, the cauliflower is a hit. So so it's like short, sweet, to the point. And then from here we would push it into instantly, basically. But this kind of just gives you an overview of what this what this would look like, and this works really well if you want to reach out to obviously local businesses. There's a lot of personalization we're able to use, and relevance in the sense that we're able to use competitors and then anchor the email or messaging against competitors, or anchor the company that we're reaching out to against one of their competitors that's like based on location and based on a similar type of business that they're operating. So this is kind of how you would build this out. I'm going to add this to a templates library, and then I'm going to release that templates library at some point in the near future, which will probably be accessible via like just sign up to email or join the school community, but I'm still not sure yet. So I'll release it at some point in the future. I'll also be probably releasing some like AI prompt stuff because I know a lot of people ask about that. So anyways, I hope you found this video useful. If you need if you need help with building out these kind of clay tables and you want to build some workflows like this, then feel free to book in a call below. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.